communicate to be understood. How do we? They sell views, trading blind spots. Humble yourself, Jahai program. Paradox universe is pivoting in another direction. The story narratives, persona became the person. These autobiographies chasing impossible answer. 1212 Radio Culture, yes indeed. Moment of truth. Welcome to this edition of the Fireside Reasoning Sessions. If you don't know the Fireside Reasoning Sessions, it is basically three Rasta men and a guest, as I would say. Yes. This is a metamorphosed version of the groundation sessions that we used to hold with Wiro I, Rastafari, Dr. Kojo Ponwadie, and Seven Fireside. Now, today we have a special guest. If you've been following the politics of Ghana, you would notice that it is a very exciting time, for good or bad reasons, for the political atmosphere in Ghana right now. And we do have some new faces, new in quotes, because our guest today is not completely new like that. But when I say new, I mean new in the sense that he's a face that is surfacing to offer hope to Ghanaians in these turbulent times. As usual, let me introduce my co-panelists and co-host, Dr. Kojo Oponwadi Wirai Rastafari, and also Seven Fireside, who are on the line right now. And let me also introduce to you the one, the only, indefatigable. And if you haven't seen him on social media these days, it means that you are using some different other type of social media, because he is making quite a showing on social media these days. I'm talking about the one and only Kofi Koranteng, independent presidential hopeful for the upcoming 2024 elections in Ghana. Gentlemen and brethren, welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm honored to be amongst the deep thought. This is the deepest one can go. My only wish is I wish we had the whole Ghana Parliament listening to this, because I know for a fact we are going to learn something from these three great minds that we have here. So I can't wait for this to unveil.
All right. Excited. Awesome. Okay, so with that said, let's set the ball rolling. Let me open the floor with my co-panelists, Dr. Wiro and
Yes.
Seven Fireside. Who's gonna go first? Wiro, why don't you go first?
Yes, no.
All right.
Yeah,
So
sure.
any questions? Let's so basically that we're discussing leadership, right? Leadership on the African continent, and I want us to zero in on Ghana. And because we have Kofi, let's also give him the opportunity to tell us what he thinks about what's going on in Ghana and what he would have done differently. So, Doc, over to you, Wiro.
Well, sure. Give thanks for the occasion, Empire. Give thanks, Fireside. Give thanks, soon to be President of Ghana, Kofi Koranteng, for being here. I think that I was under the impression that we will start with usual way of things that are in the news, but since that is not the focus of today's thing, we're going to go ahead into leadership. I think that as we think about leadership, for me, I think we should think about leadership in terms of where are we being led to, right? Because leadership for leadership's sake will only be to no avail. So I want to set the reasoning in looking at leadership for what where are we being led to, right? So give that Empire.
Okay. All right. So maybe we can deal with that, and then we'll come back and make Seven also chip in one line of reasoning. So, Kofi, where are we being led to right now? And because of time, let's bundle it together. Where are we being led to currently? And where do you propose to lead us to, if given the opportunity?
Well, right now, it's. Am I coming through clearly? Can you
You
hear me?
Yeah, it comes through
yes.
very clearly. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that's a big question. Um, we are being led in the. We are currently sprinting in a fog of substandardness all over Africa for the most part, because our leaders are wallowing in a spectrum of poverty, and they think they're doing something. We need to go to a whole different level. The quantum leap effect has to take effect, whether we like it or not, in 2024, so that we could start. Um, uh, uh, we could start really experiencing possibilities in excellence of the human experience. Um, because of the new technologies that are upon us, everything is having a a very serious effect on everything, because we moving in leaps and bounds, and the person who doesn't move makes it impossible for them to catch up because of the complexity of the world as it is today. With the innovations and the advent of quantum computing, nanotechnology, Internet of Things, um, distributed technologies, and uh, artificial general intelligence, um, it makes it impossible for us to even begin to think. We're not using common sense, and we're not using technology. So, what are we using, and where are we going? We are stuck. So, this is hopefully, maybe we are able to get some answers today from this discussion, and we're looking forward to it. But for now, no clear path has been given by any of the candidates except for us in terms of where Ghana needs to go. I can't. Ghana is a big enough elephant for us to chew down, so we can't even look past Ghana to look at Africa. Ghana in itself is it's a big enough uh, complex situation that we need to deal with. So that is where we are. We don't see the signs for uh, a prosperous future. Not from where I'm sitting. So today we make the case, and I'm looking forward to engaging great speakers we have around the table into maybe what the possibilities are and what we all need to come together in this mastermind to offer a pathway. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So my little input with that, Kofi, is to ask further, right? Um, Sometimes, and let's feel free in this discussion. So I'll say a country now, moment country, na yenti no money be because basically, if you look at Ghana, it looks as if it's a society. It's under the capture of the politicians, right? And Ghanaians in general are not have kind of given them a free pass. Then we just allow whatever to pass, to slide. And if we bringing it down to brass tacks, Kofi, what is it that you're going to do that's different from the Omoye Sise, you know? What should Ghanaians expect a Kofi Koranteng government to look like?
Empire.
Yes, Nana.
I beg, if I go for me quickly.
Please.
You want to make 7 giving vibe first before you.
Okay, all right. Let's do that.
Oh, okay, because I was following what's happening. So maybe honestly, I want to hear Kofi a little more, but off of what you just said, right? I noticed you use a phrase, spectrum of poverty, right? And then you talk about how we got to be moving. Like if you don't move in the world today, like, you know, too bad for you, you know. So basically, I heard him say a thing about something like catching up with the world, right? And I want to understand the implications of that. Are we following the world, or are we going to use our genius to come up with something,
lead the world?
Yes, why not? You know. And then also, I think we have to take the point you made about Ghana issues in Ghana are serious enough. They're maybe overwhelming to the point where we have you have a sense that we should concentrate on Ghana before we think about another country, right? But I think that's one framework we've used for the past how many decades. This has not helped us in any way. And we'll be surprised that the energy to deal with the Ghanaian problem will come from really making the continent itself our premise. Because if we look at Ghana, we don't have a premise without Nigeria, without Ethiopia, without Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, right? Okay. If we think we're doing something for Ghana first, trying to save Ghana first, I mean, I'm very interested in knowing how that's going to work, because you're talking about things that are interconnected. I'm not in a hurry to think about how we are interconnected with Europe or the United States, as much as I'm interested in the interconnection on the continent or among Black people, right? Okay. Over there, we don't see money, right? We don't see the flash and dash that we see outside of the continent, you know, where things seem to be working. So we tend to maybe think that there's not much to learn from each other. But so what I'm interested in is how we can deal with these questions of what does it mean to say spectrum of poverty? Are we talking about the West's perspective of poverty, the West's imposition of poverty? You know, and when we say to move, are we talking about following the world? Really?
Yes.
You know,
I would really like to hear Kofi on that, and then I think I have a statement or two to make about that. But I would like Kofi to go first.
So if you take the world as a frying pan, I always give this example and people really understand it. So let's hope that you get it. So the world is a frying pan. You're making pancakes. Now, the moment you pour the pancake in the frying pan, it starts spreading to take as much shape in the frying pan as possible. So let's just say you pour 3 spouts of batter into the pancake. The moment the first batter hits the pancake, it's taking shape and it's going to spread as much as possible to push the other later ones out. So if the world is not going to get any bigger, we just have to get smarter. So if the pancake batter has been poured into the frying pan, every continent is taking shape and we are not moving. We are at the same spot that the pancake hit the frying pan. So what in essence happens is somebody's batter is going to take our space. And in the sense of Ghana, if you take a look at Ghana, the world is in Ghana. They don't care if you are not planning to move. They don't care if you own Ghana. They don't care if you own all these what do you call them? Compound houses. They buy. You are the owner of a compound house. They come. Hey, keep being an owner. We will just give you money for a space inside a compound house, and we will build. And they build story buildings, and they rent that part of the compound house for dollars. And you live in the compound house, and you cannot utilize all the good things of the compound house because you don't have the access, you don't have the money, you don't have the resources, and they enjoy all the benefits, and they don't own it. It's not about who has ownership, it's who has value to bring. This is the world that we live in now. So what I'm saying is you can own Ghana, you could be Ghanaians, but if you're not utilizing your resources properly, somebody else will take it from you. So when I say spectrum of poverty, I am saying we don't have water, we don't have electricity. I don't know you guys, I don't know when you last came to Ghana, but I live in Ghana. So tomorrow my water is off. Next day my water comes on, but my electricity is off. The next day my electricity comes on, but I have data issues. When it rains, there's flooding outside of my house. I have to go buy a truck of rocks to come elevate the front of my house so the water doesn't sip under the wall and come into the compound. You have all these issues that are poverty issues. They're not development. There are 3 stages. There is a poverty stage where most African countries are, where we're fighting for the most basic of things: food, water, shelter, medicine, healthcare, jobs. And I'm not talking specialized jobs. I'm talking about laborer jobs. I'm talking about, cleaning the streets, making warmer, making sarie. I mean, these are the types of jobs that's when we talk about competency levels. Our competency levels is everything local. We don't have a competency level to be globally competitive. So what is it that we do that the rest of the world needs? Nothing. Who needs warm-up? Who needs warm-up? No. Seriously.
No. We're not just laughing because of the sound. I mean, we just want to laugh.
Yeah.
It's the question, the depth of the question.
It's deep. It's a deep question. It's a deep question because even within Ghana, the use of the warmer is metamorphosing. That's a fact.
There you go. So nobody use, even in the chop bars, they use blenders now. They buy second-hand blenders.
And males. When I went to Ghana recently, that's what I saw. People go to the mill to blend their to mill their fufu.
Exactly. So we because the world is moving. Come along if you may, but boy, we are moving. So this is where I'm saying that if we are not careful, the world is going to move, and the batter is going to take the whole frying pan, and we're not going to have space. By the time we realize they're eating out of our plate, and you can't stop them because they have bigger hands, they have faster hands, they have better brains, they feed their people more nutritious foods, they understand they understand physiology better than us. We grow all the organic foods, but they come and take it from us, and they import it to us, all their bad foods that are inorganic and has all the Roundup and all the mess of Monsanto in it for us to eat and consume. Meanwhile, for instance, rice is the biggest thing we import, $1.2 billion every year. The glycemic index on our rice is much lower, and it doesn't have nowhere close the level of fungi the rest of the rice from Vietnam and all these other places with the high glycemic index. And we're the ones getting all the metabolic syndrome. We're getting the strokes and the high blood pressure and the diabetes and everything else, and we don't have the health care. They have the health care, and they're importing our better rice. So our leaders just don't understand. We listen. Nobody can even make an argument. I am at point zero. The leaders we have in parliament, in the executive, in the legislature, in the judiciary are all level one thinkers. Level one. When I said that, I went to a place and did a speech and said that, they said, Kofi, actually, on second thought, they are still at the basement. I was like, okay. They didn't even graduate to level one. And let me prove it to you. The person who wants to be president, Dr. Baumia, comes and says, hey, when I come into government, all the local transportation, trotro and all these cars, I am going to make into electric so we don't have pollution. The guy just gave away our lithium a couple of months ago. You give away our lithium and you come back in another breath and you say, hey, we're going electric. Wow. What are you going electric with? Kerosene? I mean, seriously. Or BDA. Yeah, the BDA, they're called electric. I mean, seriously. I don't get it. I really don't. We go to COP 28 in Dubai with over 320 delegates. We take them to COP 28 in Dubai for the annual what do you call it? Global warming conference. And when you travel from Accra to Kumasi, the last time I did, about a month ago, there were 27 WDA cars heading from Ashanti region to Accra. 27. Full pack WDA cars. So we can literally, I can sit here in a video call and give you, in 30 minutes, tell us everything we need to know about global warming and how it affects our environment. Over 300 people get on a plane, go to Dubai, stay at top star hotels, and get fed, get per diems, and come back with apparently global warming knowledge, and the BDA cars are increasing by the day. BDA is big business in Ghana.
So Kofi, one quick thing about the BDA thing, and then we'll move it forward. With the BDA, no, for instance,
fossil fuels, that is.
Yeah, right. And then there are certain types of foods, let's say, that may require BDA to cook, right? But if we have a responsible afforestation and greening system in place, then we will not be afraid to have BDA, right? Because if we have, for instance, a certain type of tree that's grown specially for BDA, for instance, right? Rather than just wantonly going into the forest and just cutting down vegetation for BDA.
Good thinking.
Then that becomes a problem. But let's move the discussion forward a little bit. So Fire, did that satisfy your question? Can we move forward?
Yeah, maybe like as we talk, it would be nice say we could be tied into what you intend to do.
Yes.
As president.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because let's remember that from JJ Rawlings to Kutu Achampong to Kufuado to Kufuor to whoever has run the country after Nkrumah, they had to talk about economics. It's a terrible thing in Africa. Right? It's a given, like you're saying, right? Africa, but we always have this idea we need a new government that can make life more livable, right? And man, the thing say, I'm very interested in what you have to say. That it's not what has been said, because we're saying, look at how we're behind in terms of technology. Look how people are suffering and all that. And the mindset is backward, basically, and things like that. It's a thing we've heard throughout, because we all lived for Ghana before. We all live for Ghana where we're here. We see with JJ time, we see a lot of coups, and we see, people giving their rationale for wanting to govern, right? Even in electoral democracy or ballot democracy arrangements like what we have now. Yep. And each time is these problems, I would do this, right? But I want to hear because what you're saying really is interesting, but it's not new. We've always had stories about it like this, I think, right, Brethren?
Yes.
All right. So, okay. So let me ask you a question. I just got asked that yesterday, and this is what I told the person who asked me. Well, if I have to ask you, any of you guys know how to make jollof?
Yes, I'm expert at that.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you all.
Ital,
okay,
yeah.
Good. Okay, so I'm glad you all can make jollof. So this is going to work well. So now, if I were to ask all of us to come out with our jollof recipes, about 85-90% of it is going to be the same.
Yeah. Same ingredients at least.
Maybe you're going to use a different meat. Maybe the process you're going to make it is different. But at the long run, the process is going to be about the same for all of us. So if you listen to Akufo-Addo, you listen to Mahama, you listen to Bawumia, you listen to Kofi Koranteng, and everybody else who wants to run for president, there's going to be about 80%, 90% of the stuff they talk about that we all seem to say the same thing.
Yes, correct.
It doesn't mean that our rice is going to come from the same place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know you got secrets. You got things you want to do before you talk about and all that too. But we're just saying we're having a conversation, right? And the whole thing is, for me, going over what's wrong with Africa is helpful, it's insightful, right? I did not talk about the BDA likes, I think it's crucial. It sounds poetic. Just after you talk get the BDA, running electric and all they start illustrate how they use BDA, screw up the place, right?
Yeah.
But this is all in the category of reasoning of this is what is wrong, right?
That's
we can go down the list, right? But you have, as you say, you have fresh ideas, right?
All right. So make I tell you then, make I
Let me talk like this now.
Yeah. Make a bust
yeah. When we talk too much of the straight English, you'd be like, white man is less as we talk.
Yeah.
We could talk like how we talk.
All right. So, okay. So simple. Okay. Let me break it down like this. So the three things. Our threesome. Okay. Don't, guys, and I know we all guys here, don't get any ideas. Okay. We're talking threesome here. So okay. Let's stay in our lanes. So the threesome that I'm talking about is change the constitution, eradicate corruption, institute a national development plan. Nobody can be president of Ghana without these three things. They're not going to be successful. They're not going to be able to turn Ghana around. So now let me break it down. Change the constitution. The constitution gives the president too much powers to fool around, to be a complete out of the box, like upside down thinker, with no strings attached. They can do anything. They can sell the country. They could do anything. And it's a dangerous place to be to give the president that much power. Okay, the president can sell anything he wishes to sell, and nobody could stop him. And everything else, giving the Electoral Commission power to recreate, segmentate Ghana without a prior
gerrymander
assessment of how that affects our budget. You can't go and just break down the country into 16 regions. You don't even have the money to create administrative agencies in the regions, and you just break up the regions. The president is the one who picks the EC, picks the police commissioner, picks the accountant general,
the auditor general, the special prosecutor. It's a sham.
You can't. The people who are supposed to really keep
him in check are the same people who are appointed by him.
Absolutely.
Right.
We can't have a soccer game when the team who is playing comes in with their referee and linesman.
Yeah.
We just can't. And this is what
linesman is number 12 for the opposing team.
and then I don't know if you know this, but the Ghana, if you are a diasporan, Ghana does not currently have a middle class. Now, our current debt is 840 billion. There is absolutely no way we're going to be able to absorb that 840 billion without a middle class, because the middle class in every country is who spends. The major function of a middle class is to create an economic combustion. If Ghana does not have a middle class, how are we going to eat up the 840 billion? Because the people at the bottom, they spend a lot, but there's no amount of wachi and diewu that can eat up 840 billion. Because they are small ticket items. There are a lot of things, but it's because it's small ticket items, it doesn't pile up to be a lot. And then the rich folks, they get their Patek Philippe's and their Audemars Piguet and their Longines and their IWC watches, all from Dubai or Switzerland or London. They don't buy it in Ghana. So the big ticket, they get all the Maybach, Mercedes, their Range Rovers. They don't get it in Ghana. They get it abroad. So the rich people get their big ticket items, which would have created the economic combustion that we need to eat up the debt. They get it from outside. So there's a big vacuum that nobody is in a position to fill. And
how do you feel? Excuse me, sorry for interjection, but just as you were talking, I wish you can just put it in this context, right? Remember that just around it was the 60s, but maybe late 50s, right? Frantz Fanon talked about this situation, right? And that's how he described the African situation, right? Okay. Like, we don't have a middle class. We don't have a bourgeoisie, right? We don't, right? And that's how it's been. It's not like we had it once and then look what happened. We lost it. It's never been a thing. Why don't we put that reasoning of economics aside, right? I mean, it's hard to tell someone like you that, because the little bit I found out about you, I know this is the world you exist in. You know, you swim in those waters, right? But
Kofi works in finance, though, so yes, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, but for me, I think that there's one lane, right, that for me over-determines the outcome. If you ask me why is politics not working in Africa, I'll say it's working, because this is how it's supposed to be, based on that lane that we're tracking on. So we can sit around and talk about all these. Are you Christian, brethren? You're Christian, or let's say we're talking to a Christian. I'll say this: if Jesus Christ Himself, right, come rule Ghana right now, if it's the same situation, if they put $1 trillion in everybody's pocket right now, people go buy food and thing and pay for their home, their thing, their home and their thing. But we could be facing the world the same way.
You're so right.
That's because we don't have some basic structures to make this whole process lubricated. Everything I say, I'm driving to a point where then I come in to say, this is why we need to do this way. Okay, because you see, what we're looking for is our own Africa built by us through our own image of what's perfect for us, and not by anybody else's. But we cannot lie to ourselves that there are some basics that we need. Unless, of course, we are planning to be totally isolated from the world, there are some things that we need to be a part with.
Yes.
And accept that we need to have.
I love that you brought that up, because that's the tricky area. What do we accept? What do we toss?
Exactly.
Yes.
So if we're building
stay there. Just stay in that area while you're talking.
Okay, so good enough. So now this is what I'm saying. We're not here to build Ghana like any place else. We're here to build Ghana in its best form for us.
Unique.
And that's why when people ask me, oh, Kofi, are you a social democrat? I said, all that nonsense don't matter. The only thing that matters to me and to Africans, Ghanaians, is what works for us, because our culture and our experiences are different. Our value systems are different.
But Kofi, we've been talking about this too for a while, because even that itself, even within Ghana itself, our value systems are different from tribe to tribe, from peoples to peoples,
region to region.
Right? So how do we find that common thread? Like Kwame Nkrumah did.
But you see, but this is what I'm saying, that if you gave us the basics, then you see there is a spectrum. Okay, so the upward movement that's vertical, the government has to provide and elevate the standards of Ghanaians. So where we have, and when I talked about three things, the threesome. So eradicate corruption, change constitution, eradicate corruption. The third thing is institute a national development plan for the next 20, 30, 50 years. So in instituting the national development plan, there are 10 things that we ought to have in this Ghana. And the 10 things are housing, healthcare, employment, education. And I'm not talking just education, I'm talking relevant education. Education that's consistent to our perspectives, our experiences, our value systems, and our needs. Culture. Yep. Okay. Transportation, telecommunication, security, recreation, markets, and a functional central business district. Okay, that's just a place where the private sector meets the rest of the world.
Kofi, how about a free and vibrant media?
Oh, it's all in there in the telecommunication. It breaks down to. Okay. So what I'm saying is these are the 10 major things you cannot develop as a nation unless you have these things. And in 32 years, in 67 years, Ghana doesn't have one that's well developed. In 32 years in the Fourth Republic, NDC and MPP have not been able to develop just one of these 10 things. That's why they need to be seen out.
Kofi, when we talk about a development plan, we are talking about something that has to be signed on to by all of Ghana, right? By all Ghanaians, all in Sunday.
That's correct.
And now we're also talking about a highly divisive country where even giving credit for a past government's achievement is a problem. We all know that former President Mahama, for instance, came up with a 40-year development plan. And we all know that as soon as he left power, he didn't. Tell us about
There's a difference.
Tell us what you know.
So he made a proposal.
Okay.
Now, if you are doing a national development plan, the uniqueness of my plan to Mahama's plan is I will entrench it in the Constitution.
Okay.
Till it becomes entrenched in the Constitution, it's a wet dream.
Okay, so that's why I was heading with my questioning though, because at this point, with a divisive Ghana, right, who will be looking at who gets the credit for the development plan? How easy is it for you to even push something like that through, versus having, say, a Jerry Rawlings who is not giving you a development plan on paper, but is actively has like a game plan what he wants to do, right? To say send electricity to the rural areas, for instance, taking it as micro items on the bill.
The difference is you allow for the Ghanaian people to make the decision as to what they need, not what you are telling them is important. So once you give them you bring them to a buffet, and you tell them all the foods that are nutritious and good for you, and you tell them to stay away from the carbs, let them eat the vegetables, and so at the end of the day, they pick a selection of things they need, and you put it in a national development plan. So it's what they want. Now, the difference also is it doesn't go to Parliament. It goes through Parliament. Who it goes to is the people of Ghana in a referendum.
Yeah.
So the process is different, and it's not going to be, ping-ponged in Parliament, because it's not going to be on the Parliament floor to be ping-ponged. It's going to go through Parliament as a process, but it goes to the people of Ghana.
How?
Because that's the process per the Constitution.
The process is for both sides of Parliament, or all sides of Parliament, as the case may be, to accept it.
No, it's not. Okay, so that's in an entrenched position of the Constitution. The things go to the people of Ghana in what we call a referendum. So the president allows for his council to let the Speaker of Parliament know that he wants to do a referendum on some items.
Mm-hmm.
It comes to Parliament. It's discussed in Parliament as a process. Then it goes to the Council of State for 30 days to be discussed to get their impressions of it. Then it goes to a Gazette for 90 days, 3 months. And after it stays in the Gazette for 90 days as part of the process, it comes back to the Parliament floor for final arguments, not to be stopped. It cannot be stopped because it's something that has to go to the people of Ghana. So it comes to Parliament. Parliament gives it to the Electoral Commissioner. The Electoral Commissioner prepares a referendum. And in the referendum, 40% of the people on the voter roll have to vote in this referendum to make it valid. And when the 40% get involved in the referendum, 70% must vote
in favor.
Yes, in favor of the referendum for it to come back to Parliament to be made into law.
Kofi,
so it's not something that
one term of the president is 4 years. Now, for this short thing that you just described, which means that it may take that 4 years to achieve that. But be that as it may, again, you need to say, even if you were able to achieve this, throughout and everything like that, after your 4 years, you have no control over that. And that's the point I was trying to make. Because once you leave, it becomes subject to what whoever has the power wants to do. Let's take the Jubilee House, for example, right? Just off the serious topic of what we're discussing, but just as an example of what I'm saying, the Flagstaff House, Kwame Nkrumah named it the Flagstaff House, right? Somebody comes and says, nah, we change the name to Jubilee House. Another government comes and changes it back to Flagstaff House. And then another government comes again and changes it back to Jubilee House. Somebody says, let's call it Jubilee Flagstaff House. Like, we can't even agree on naming Flagstaff House, let alone have a national agenda, of that nature.
Yeah, because any constitution be any constitution entrenched,
Okay, so this is why you're trying to entrench it in the constitution so it becomes more operational.
Because more Bogana for poor ache. Inti bibia yen babe no ye di share constitution ma law ken constitution ma to kina
actually poase
ni aka che Ghana for say someone ye bre ya ansa na ya say one side betum anim na mu go to their mama self. And Ghanaians are not going to do it because things like Article 71 ex gratia in every constitution.
Yes.
We're going to trim the constitution down to the only things that favor the Ghanaian and not allow these criminals to go on a rampage.
Looting spree.
So that's what we're going to do.
All right. Doc, Wiro, Meto Kasache. I beg, chime in small.
All right. Give thanks for a reason. Three things are kind of constitution, development plan, and corruption. I'm saying, Barack Obama said eradication of corruption, 17 as area, and he said, the human shows are then now be corruption beefy system no.
Opa Sempa. Okay. Because in fact, I'm going to announce it first on this show set. And this is a big deal because I took a position on it. We kind of sidestepped a little bit, but I'm coming back on your show for the first time. Say, Muntian you, Ghana for what cause financial loss to the state? Yeah, we will get rid of you. Muntian ye.
Get rid of Nutremu ye. Now get rid of China. Or how was it Mbini or China? Okay.
Masa, we will get rid of you. You were free. You empower Ghana.
Wow.
It's plain and simple. Oh yeah. You were free. Inti me kawo kwesi show you so for the first time. Me Kofi Koranteng me say what cause financial loss to the state because you were free. Because hey, minia mama can't say much more. They cause so last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said you we. We so they one ma common at you. If you understand. I asked the most. I asked the money.
Kofi. Munchies.
Listen, no, seriously. Masa, these guys, they said you want to me free or crowd because you wouldn't give us so. Into the air and they said, listen, 67 years ago, we went into an experiment. And in a petri dish, we started mixing some things in the lab, and now it has become a 99-head monster that's eating all of us up. We are an endangered species, to see. Your substandardness is eating us away. To say ye disika say bibia wakana, to say ye disika yet new money, ye de say bibia. Inti say ye take a serious approach to corruption. It best say Ghana.
Fact.
Now me can't tell ubia wuti me say. Don't jump and say, hey, Kofi Koranteng say about you be kunipa baby. The moon say corruption kwa e kunipa no e does say
exactly the point.
Because of corruption. No.
Exactly the point. Because Okokoye Galamsina ko poison water bodies are. The amount of people are omobe yare, right? Eventually, no, because of cyanide, any mercury near dena it won't see anymore. So I see what you're saying, but let me also. Okay. Yes. True. Me pa go.
Branko I saw kind of Matthias here, Bisa Kaka said, you corruption now, okay.
Oh, okay. Maybe I started with you there. We are 70 bed my you know now. So let me tell you. Okay, go ahead.
Nafani na afra preko.
Inti mpese se ubetche mo me ni mo adwemu de da me susu se corruption na okay enye se bia se be se dia omoka brofunu financial malfeasance nko a nemom ye fa de se uma ho kwan me kan say uma ho kwan na ye galamsi a se eno se betima ka say corruption na
say there is remediation. That means you've caused financial loss. BBI it equates to say you pay state seeker to repair no financial loss into would them. So now a couple of things. me pen a me ba your administration no ye corruption every ho in 3 ways. Yeah, criminally they be prosecuted almost immediately. Yeah, no cobra or court.
Charlie, people go plenty for court. Oh,
he no be small.
Listen, this is the only agency in court. Mahama 24-hour economy. No, it happened a day. Mahama 24-hour economy. You have permanent place for court. Musa onfa omeya wo. You have the Mahama beba say the amount desk for her. Rabbe your 24-hour economy. Court system. Start with one kasa who first. Move kona desk BNC ho. Musi anamahama where you say that watch it what Masa,
Kofi,
even may catch them.
The last time I spoke with you on TV, on iCulture TV, we had that interview, you made a point that grabbed people's attention. After the interview, that's the one thing that people kept talking about the most. And how you propose to deal with Galamsey. And the fact that you think Galamsey is not, and in fact, this is what people were most fascinated about, that you think Galamsey is not a problem. It's
not.
A small fry. But to be honest with you, Anopeya, just this morning, me who video be, me who dream me Kofi, me sure say a small sao. Young people going around almost sign your video cry and proudly saying, yes, say assassino, yeah, best say assassino until politicians say baby whatever. They are making a point. But however, yes, politicians also age mama or creative mama and all of that. But is the response to Omonia Sano, you yourself going out there to destroy the land, no? And at the country makers a small problem, and they say, Atiati say, so to speak, Yakasane can go trim meboa. Atiati say it's a man for air mine or move feature or more diase, Konongo and this kind of place. And you can say a small problem. Shania the country was supposed to say a small problem.
Okay. Mama me can't me prove beyond the shadow of a doubt say a small problem.
Let's hear you.
Okay. In 2022, your gold revenues one more at the government $6.8 billion. Gold revenues, raw gold revenue, 6.8 billion.
Right.
Your gold ended up on Dubai souks. The kasi suka just say market. Gold souks with Dubai now about 22 billion. And only you won't me nominate one more me Galamsey one go there. And then your massy could do Dubai no 22. Yay, the only register were yay rector skill, so 6.8. Inti offer 22. Now we can boom with 6.8 now. Now 28.8, me boy. Okay. Inti but the infant said 28. 28 no. Last time I may call Singapore, may call one souk, maybe almost gold market. A kilo of gold that is a iPhone 5 size, and yet iPhone 14, iPhone 5, old iPhone size no. Almost ton 66 as $68,000.
Wow.
Yemfa Bibian frame raw gold. So that same gold, one more ton was Ghana for less than $5,000. So, Intinacha said there's a factor of more than times 10. But what the Yemfana said times 10 value add into on 28 billion times 10 ASA. And yet 280 billion.
Yep.
The tallest building in Dubai, in the world, Dubai, a friend of Burj Khalifa. Burj Khalifa, it took $1.5 billion to build. The tallest building in the world. In 1 year, you're realizing $280 billion out of gold. Wow. This is how much gold that air conkrofo kutukuma, most of them no pranye Ghana for, but yen penny for no lacks of loss in Tino, I could dinkrofo ekutuku. Inti the me can say, if you to me and you may yena sa good nina through an authorized government agency where gold be in free chrome ha and co abruchiri without selling it at its value add price. Into Uber turn a raw cry at the Bema at the value add price. Into see ye 2 gold now, ye 28 billion now, you been 280 billion. Now, one mu 2 galam say no, one mu ye nipa saying.
One Dawson.
Ye investi sika bia into agriculture. And so say ne guwe ye krantos, ye crab jenny, ye crab a brew, ye crab cuckoo, ye crab banching. Inti so what the emphasis say we put $10 billion into agriculture every year for the next 10 years. Ye benya an abundance of food. Self sikeni na yenya from food. No sa outputs na yenya so from food. Ye de be feeding ye agro-based industries. Hey, me time me do. Yeah, ready. Me time me do.
Oh, time us soon for our next interview now, Okano.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm so we don't say a part 2. I'll say
part 2. We did me cram fee and an alarm. Inti, what I'm saying is that we will put people in agriculture, they will make meaningful incomes, and the rest of them, Yebema Womo, they said they oba America, Womoma and Crawford food stamps, you know. Yebema Womo checks up to 700 cedis every month, and one day. The condition near say you don't touch our land, you don't touch our water. You're chiwa. Financial loss to the state. And once you do up with you now, you tear free. So may not be they may cancel. It's what your monk has a Kofi and Paboni and Yafi, you will end corruption in Ghana. So with the Mr. I have to run, but
yes,
part 2.
Yeah, I'll say part 2 by all means because the assembly Kasankasano.
Yeah. Maybe making sure say you need
any other appointments. Yeah.
Said the Bekasa because you started at the end of cry.
Yeah, started and it's about what 8 months or so of campaigning, right? Into your higher fee anytime you
set up another appointment right away and let's get the time straight now so at least we could have 2-3 hours to talk.
I'll speak with your press person, no?
Right? And I would love for us to have this panel back, but I have to run.
No problem. You better throw you. You better throw back. Wow.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yo, Kofi, that's CP. The minutes kakana can the yanka said the around the air. Yo, that's CP, and all the best.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So, people, this was Kofi Koranteng, independent presidential hopeful. In Semna or Kano, there are parts of it we will definitely have to get him back to throw more light on. But in the meantime, we have how many minutes more do we have? We actually went over the hour, but we will push it to the hour and a half. So let's spend about the next 20 or so minutes rounding up within ourselves. 7, Wiro.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's the deal? Oh, well, one thing though. Sorry. Go ahead. We are have something. I hope I don't forget. But 7. Okay, all right. Okay, so I was just waiting to react to something that 7 was saying a while ago about using Ghana as a model rather than extending, the attempt, let me call it, at unification or at whatever progress we're making to the whole continent. 7, we realized that this was Nkrumah's dilemma all along,
absolutely,
right? With the Casablanca group and the whatnot group, and
absolutely,
yes. So it to me personally, it appears to me as if we're able to make Ghana a test case, right? Like Nkrumah eventually ended up trying to do with the Ghana-Guinea-Mali concept, creating a union between three countries that didn't even share geographical borders. We have to think outside the box. We have to move towards finding systems. Like Haiti. Haiti is not even on the continent, and Haiti wants to join the AU. That's what we're talking about, right? We don't need to share geographical borders directly like that. Let's find whoever has the willpower or the interest to do it, and let's do it together. Because if you say you're using the whole Africa as a test case, this is what's been happening for this whole time. That's just what I wanted to draw our attention to.
So you're saying start with who would work with you first?
Yes.
Oh, okay. But at least the concept is that you're seeing something running through all of us, right?
Absolutely.
Rather than because there's the other side where it's like, okay, it comes back to do for yourself.
Yes.
If you're not careful.
That's
really.
true.
If we make this place great, other people to make theirs great, and everything will be nice.
Charlie, everything is good for what is good for. Do for yourself, though. It has its place. But, do for yourself can also be very negative in the sense that...
His Majesty handled the Casablanca thing in a way where we go learn from, right? He said, look, man, you go fit talk say this, you go fit talk say that, But the point is that we are fractured. If we go do like that, we are not. If we say, okay, like in Nkrumah movie make, it's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But His Majesty, that was in a sense the approach where people they come to the African unity things. Like we are the ones. Leave those guys out. Or let's take care of this. But His Majesty's like, yeah, cool. But let's see how we can put it all together still. You see what I'm saying? So I go fit sign something with Burkina. We go fit agree with Burkina, say we do something.
Yeah.
But the same energy I get open for Zimbabwe.
Yep.
Ready.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Same thing I get for any other part.
Because if we have a trade agreement between Ghana and Zimbabwe, for instance, but we don't share a geographical border so that we can drive goods and services directly there, why can't we fly it there? Right?
Why can't we? Why can we?
Why can't we fly it there?
Yeah.
So
Empire.
Yeah.
We agree because your friend is saying when it comes to thinking of nationality, and by this I don't mean the nations created by the Berlin Conference, but the one that we can create for ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then Zimbabwe, even though it may not share border with Ghana, it's still part of the nation.
Yep.
Right? I don't like comparing America to Ghana, Africa, or anything like that.
No.
Just by mere fact of the availability of a point that I can make comparison with them.
Mm-hmm.
Alaska, Caribbean,
Well, a part of way.
Exactly. Puerto Rico.
Yeah, exactly. One more. It's in your kind of new argument. Tanya Mandi, and yet Bibia is senior Maquai. Nemomiane, Yakia, say, Bia.
Yeah.
You can be idea near Cancel, quite one nominee.
Yeah. Because I feel like you're trying for all the 54 countries to come in one accord and say pepe.
Oh, and also that will never happen.
Yeah, it's such a.
There will be some framework where they hold us together, though, like His Majesty do.
And I think that and also the Ghana-Guinea-Mali concept, I think was because through the Ghana-Guinea-Mali concept, and Nkrumah Ekoko supported Guinea, for instance, with some money, right, which has become some kind of its own story in Ghana, But it's true that suppose we had a loose alliance of countries on the continent, and mind you, we have a lot of commonalities that makes it easy for us to do things like this, right? Your culture is so similar. If you go to Zimbabwe, the way they eat, the way they dress, the way they do their things, few differences here and there, but there's a common thread running through the whole continent, so that it shouldn't be hard for us to form stronger alliances, and then when it comes to trade, like I said, yes, because
Canada or Canada.
Yes.
In fact, Cambrofo, a funker friend.
There you go.
But they did together as one country.
There you go. Now Africa, across Africa, for example, Cameroon.
Cameroon, sister. But
all kind of things going on there. Yeah.
But Tanya and yet near be I see. Say, per se, be into me, see, and quiet say into me.
Cry.
And you said you're not 7 acres. And who he has a better said, we are work 54 countries or Africa, never said, my year December be United and Sunday United. In fact, the opposite granted ever hold it true. Said 3 countries, said yeah, see, I who say, Burkina and Mali, and in Nigeria. Abia, I fear baby, na countries, me news are joining. I fear better also. Countries being CSI join. It do me be a one coca hono.
No one why yes left out. But maybe so, Nana, any 7. So
maybe I do there.
It's time to go join. But maybe some more.
But before that, there will be a framework. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. But I feel like there's a framework. I feel like at least the framework they did there. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, like you yourself mentioned about how His Majesty deal with that, and also if we should take.
So we emphasize that.
Yeah. But let me ask you. Yeah. Some people, when it comes to finding our own path, instead of charting our own course, people are still looking for alternatives that don't still belong to us. I'm talking about something like the BRICS.
It looks like an alternative, though.
Yes. Like the BRICS, for instance. Right, the BRICS system. Akwakweti say, if we are to move away from the current system, and maybe align with the BRICS system, it's showing some sort of progress or some revolutionary thinking or whatever. What do the brethren them think? What do you think?
Yeah, the BRICS system, as he say, be cool, but as he say, still there in the same conversation with the dollar and pound. Basically, it's like a counteracting force, which is a positive, though, to that the economic arrangement. But I don't see a different arrangement, a whole economic arrangement, right, where things don't have to go through those kind of tight windows where some ego here say, "God, I'm safe for happen." You see what I mean?
Yep.
Right now, the economics be such that no matter what you do, something like God, I'm safe for happen. If not that way, something else. People do crazy things to eat.
Yeah.
Because that economic solution track, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Economics should be integral to another thing. It shouldn't be like, if we crack the economics code, then we're fine. That's a huge lie.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said something earlier. You hear framework, right? Framework, no empire. Say, okay, fine. But Yanka breaks awesome. Africa, population-wise, at the inside, population say they're human resources, right? Most of the time, you can't natural resources, but you can't human resources also. To see how your population exploded, it's just that, you need to be a kind Ocean so Serbia Diasa, Abrofu, Amaya more any idea more European, more population, a coffin. Mundipano, Omundos, Omosa. So that's into number 1, your population as human resource. Number 2, we are seeing so-called Western technology. You use it from cell phones to computers to TVs to cars. The car crowd, and say, a friend say Tesla, by lithium batteries, BR natural resources, if you're Africa. The point I make, just imagine, say, Africa, you create your own BRICS system. Your friend of BRICS,
something, yeah.
I been leverages human and natural resources. We are here. You hear BRICS, you hear US dollar. In fact,
They would stand like something now.
Yep.
Until now, I bet me I can say, oh, I did where I'm away. Say na metono. I mean, my typical example. Now say Ghana and lithium. Lithium is so say because of say cars here by Tesla money the electric cars. A very highly demanded resource. So I say yeah, Juma year there. Ghana co-signing agreement be say Abrofubio say why in Befa Ghana lithium nickel.
Omoma 13%.
Oh say
13. Omoma for Omoma 13%.
Right.
And almost some bomb on some mama so that was a good deal.
Oh, and I remember 13% yeah almost say you been your government officials or much population say, oh, 30% now you begin cry. Yeah. Not as okay. Almost 30% though. Oh my idea so much to me. How much deal look see 30% now?
Because some other countries now 12.8%.
So they play the white pound game. They play white pound game.
For real. If you add it to now, in terms of 100%, now Undre say 30%, you're okay.
Hey, great.
Nana, so all this, no, me feel say the world order. Because there's a certain order here.
Because you say in common you can say, Obi can say, politicians, no, in a Omoya Niamawo, in Ghana. And no question Omoya Niamadia. But Ushia, Ghana, either government, whether NDC or MPP, I do Omoya and say, Omo manage economy.
Yes.
I will be a shaman, Obi church here, or true from myself. You say. And one no more.
Yep.
And one no more.
I'm a friend of
and yes, Debbie Amika say, say, young father say, yeah, drink cry, young father say, you drink cry. Say, technology that I didn't young fat technology available free. Then from boy, your man for now, or more assets now. Into insurance area or to say and so Obesha into them person beside Barack officer or can be beside spectrum of poverty and can person beside say spectrum of poverty okay or can mental poverty so I can
and no can see and only the biggest one because for instance Nana say oh asase wo na oton asase no e de kokoto car. For instance, when the car has a lifespan of so many years, when assassino who inherit assassino, when you have a government which has a policy of gold for oil, the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life.
It is.
Because number one,
government get oil too.
We get oil as well.
That's the government get oil.
And then number two, gold now, or the kwakwaji oil, no, it costs money. So why can't you sell the gold and use it to buy the oil? If you have to do that. There's a bankruptcy of leadership.
Empire, okay. So they lithium
you see, the oil, no, to be honest with you, they did a slightly better job than the gold and all that. Because at least they were able to set up a heritage fund out of that. They were able to set up. There's another fund that they set out of that. There are two different funds almost set out of that too. One of them is the Heritage Fund, which is money that is to be put aside for future generations, which is not to be touched at all. We don't have that for the gold, right? And for the oil, no, yes, they did. It's still not that great, but they studied some best practices are at least can you follow our path now and can be a slightly better story for us. Because you have we say you have a system first of all, them maybe disappointment they say we don't have TOR functioning. But if you had TOR functioning, you won't mine oil, send it to Brazil and import it back from Brazil. Because all that Brazil is going to do is to add value to it to turn it into gas, petrol for people to use. So if you have TOR running, then yeah. But I agree with you. Say we're not really doing that great with negotiating for our resources. I don't know how those things go, but what is wrong with telling people say, okay, fine, let the thing stay in the ground?
Well, true, and then you agree, now, and I make a consistent say, oil level Africa, since you one front, you bet me actually, you better, yeah. Nemo the Ghana G, you say a 10% ya Ghana G. Liberia say 7% too.
Something of this why I guess so about 13% no, because we'll be 12.5%.
And you know, she say Muntu, they cry, you know. And she so why are they so when you're 30%? That only Paconia 87%. Yeah, kind of was that. You know?
Yeah.
Next, but the mental thing and all kind of
yes.
So like how we go, how like I could love here the Kofi, president make it talk the thing, make it get, because I think that he mentioned that in a way he was talking about the mindset too. Right? So I would love to hear what he want to do. And sometimes it's hard having a conversation like this against someone to tell us his plans, right? Because anybody goes to do that, right? So I think he wants to do it a certain way. It will be interesting how he wants to do it, how he wants to talk about it, Yeah, but the conversation was good though, Brethren. The questions they ask him,
Yeah, I think we should definitely bring him back at some point.
Yeah.
We should definitely bring him back at some point, and because he has some very interesting takes on, like, that's why I actually got him to speak about how he plans to deal with corruption and things like that, because he has a very revolutionary way of thinking about, very interesting way of thinking about corruption. And if you really check it out, it may sound extreme. And for somebody who grew up, not maybe grew up, but somebody who lived in the United States, worked in the United States for so long, people may think, say, oh, you lived in a country where that type of justice system does not exist. So where does that even come from? But the fact of the matter is, we don't have to replicate everything America is doing. We have to do things that suit us, right? Because the fact of the matter is,
with our own thing.
System be more. If there are people who don't fear the law because they know how the law functions in Ghana, they know, say, you can bribe a judge with a punching or bodier or something like that, and this is a fact. This is a fact, So they are on journey home. But if we're in a system where say the judge cannot be bribed, when say when you do this, the consequence is that. All these youth, the poverty of thinking, the mental poverty, and also I think that we should make that a central topic another time and discuss it. Because what would make somebody get up and go to the bush and take implements and just start digging the ground and destroying it like that? Galam said that Charlie, way back in the early 2000s. I did a documentary, right? We were actually commissioned by Obuasi Anglogo, it was called at the time, because they were having issues with what they called encroaching, on their concessions with Omomoye Galam Senior. When we went to go do the documentary, I learned so much. For instance, these people that they were calling encroachers, they were not destroying anything. Only they were but what they had issues with was that sometimes they would accost their trucks. They would attack them, and take some of their ore and stuff like that. So that was a problem. But they didn't have an environmental problem the way we do now. The Pearl River was still the Pearl River. People were not poisoning the Pearl River. All of a sudden, no, maybe it's a Western regional. There's a shop that sells machinery that is used to do galamsey.
Yeah.
And they sell the spare parts and all of that. And at one point, Ghana deported as many as 2,000 Chinese nationals who were in the country doing illegal galamsey. Where are we going? It's against that backdrop. And that's what catches will be here. Me, no, I don't flinch because who say, you know how many people have issues with kidney disease and all of these things in these areas? That's a wunipa bakupe who sika kakra de begu bottom intino. Obeyesa. You try with I have no tears for you.
No, and I mean I say. I say yes, you agree, say. It's Dana obituary Nyakuma say. Kakra me pair gumi bottom binti. So me say you no cry and family. Say I see you to me. You to me can be far I know.
Yeah, and then we go see say a lot of things in our education, our idea of how it's tied to the thing where Dr. Icon about who are we? We become experts in somebody else's way of doing things. Yeah, we want to prove that we can do it too. We're so backward, we can't even do what you want to do. But Charlie make sure say we can do it very well. By the time you go do it, start doing that thing, they change already, start doing another thing.
Basically.
They go learn that one too. Oh, now they got internet of the Disney, the blues. We go learn that one too. Then eventually they go come some.
Basically.
Like 20 years ago, they go tell us, oh, you need to know how to use a computer. By the time you finish learning a computer, another thing comes.
They start telling about AI.
So the point is not knowing how to use the technology, it's having a certain mindset because the things will come.
And the thing is that you see,
like you said, why not lead? Why don't we all these things we get? Why someone we don't fit our people go if our people free our mind? So like I'm about to go invent like crazy for Africa.
Of course, and all the things. It's not all the things that we need. All the things that's and then here, right? The things that we need, I believe we have enough genius to. Just a couple days ago, my brother sent me some images of the farmer or Kwakwato seeds from Apostle Kojosafo, right? And we decide and all of that. Okay, so it's somebody, that guy is such raw genius. Wouldn't say he has cracked some code in agriculture. It needs worldwide attention. That guy has done something with his seeds. The way and the rate at which they produce, is phenomenal. So a man like that holds a key to our food security.
Yeah.
But nobody is tapping his brains. Nobody is, he's there. He's wherever he got the code from, he's there. A few people I'm sure know what the code is, but
and this week when you say a court to be Ghana, human rights court, human rights court. A dismissing injunction of food sovereignty Ghana requested against introduction of 14 genetically modified products into the system. I mean, we sound like the concept Human Rights Court.
We don't know what they are doing.
A dismissing injunction of food sovereignty Ghana. Bisa say, Yemfa Intia 14 genetically modified products are among purpose of the bus system. Inti just say, human rights, you can't human rights, I saying.
I'll kind of say,
Nana, I agree. When it comes to this, when it comes to this way, when it comes to something like this Monsanto thing, that's the one time. And when I started following this thing, it's a long time ago. Those times, Mahama was in government, right? So it's not something that is even peculiar to any political party. They are all complicit, all of them. Because check this out. Those times, there was this guy. What's his name? Susu or something like that. I forget his name. who was NDC guy who was in charge of. We interviewed him, and the kind of things he was saying was just short of ridiculous. But the thing is that you had nobody opposing that from the NPP, and now they are in power. What has changed? Not a damn thing.
Managers of the economy.
What would I make you know? Because when Monsanto comes, Monsanto is not only going to go bribe NDCO, they will bribe both sides. It's when you come to the issue of GMO, something as crucial as that, you have no mention of that made in Parliament. None.
Me who a Rebbe or tongue in Rasta. In Kumana and Wakana. Nkuma Baku to say a president. Who can say 1 foot rule and any day? It's about Sana in Kumana Baku.
Wow.
In America, could say, Geomono was system that Nancy and young person say, or person be quite a crowd. Just said,
you're free, yes.
You know,
yes. And only the dangerous part with that, Nana, and they say, with that, then they'll be encroaching on our local species. So, because what they will do eventually, they will take our local species, and GMOfy them and kill off the original species. That's what they're trying to do.
That's a friend Monsanto, any company back require friend I'm with two.
Bayer, Sagenta, all those ones.
We are still collecting seeds,
control your food source.
Me pass them backwards. We begin to move type of forward. Now, we listen here on area, late middle school and after early secondary school. But now you will be your Ghanaian friend Global 2000.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not Global 2000.
Sasakawa.
I think to be cracked. Maybe you said, Sana, a point of more introduced to GMO Baga. Sasakawa and Jimmy Carter, these no more buy it. Put the for 1 year a better. If I say we about friends here, I said as soon as I we hear banana, which I said yes. The Sakawa and Jimmy Carter, a more about almost to buy. The wood dear after we know to her. After people could be a baby.
Yes.
Does the G
one time use only. One time use.
You know, it won't set you up in a way. Say every year you come
buy the seed from mom.
You see in perpetuity. And we our governments now they don't think about the people. They don't think about the people because anybody will go think about the people. Would not say, hey, Charlie, this thing how much people sign something it become high to people. But the Human Rights Court and that Human Rights Court, I go almost say as the top of Ghana, order from above. The order came from above, so my party throw this case out. Make this 14 GMO products.
Basically. All right. So we actually have gone a little bit past the hour and a half as well. But you take about maybe 2 minutes each to bring our closing thoughts. Nafi. Yankosha say kukuntena binya. Na. Okay. So 7.
Yes. Telling me the team, you say I won't hear you talk more. That'll be my closing thought. I like you to give us more of the things you to collect from different, you to pick up from the people that I should say they do one, but more, right?
Well, true. Say I did pick up some of those things from you as well. I would like make the audience share it from your from source.
But you know the thing I mean, man. So but I understand to say a lot of times you they ask us, before they kind of like moderate the thing, right? But make it give us some more of the things you to get,
I hear.
Yeah, give thanks.
I hear every time. Empire.
Yes, yeah.
Well, Empire, give thanks for such reason,
Yeah. Yes.
I hope say, Brown Coffee will come back, make we continue the reason. And I hope say, even if Brown Coffee no win, this kind of reasonings, people go to listen where it will give them an idea, say there can be different mindset from the one that we're right now.
Yes.
And that we need to embrace something else.
Great point. Great point.
To be open to ideas, Charlie. We need that.
Great point.
We need that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So my idea, it's been brought to my attention. Say I streamed on the wrong YouTube channel. I can't believe that. So Jano, what it is we had this old YouTube channel, and then when we monetized, we stopped using that and we started using the monetized one. For a very long time, I've been trying to just delete that from the account, but it's not going away. And it has the same name. So please, I do apologize because I kept getting these messages, people asking me for the link, and then they were on the channel, but they couldn't find the link. And I'm just noticing right now that we posted it on the old one, the old channel. So my apologies for that. But at least you do have the link to the radio channel itself, which was also shared. So even if you're not able to see us on social media, you will still be able to listen to us via the main platform, www.ghnewsnow.com, and also on modernghana.com. Now, I have one more announcement to make before we round it up. It's about the app. For some time now, we've been inviting you and encouraging you to go download the app. Today, I'm here to say, please put a pause on that for just a little bit because we are doing some maintenance work on the app as we speak. So if you go and try to download the app and you do not see it, or you get an error message or anything like that, don't freak out. It's just regular. We are conducting some maintenance work on the app. When it's done, we'll let you know, and then we'll also start actively inviting you to go back and download the app. In the meantime, you know where to catch all our shows, www.ghnewsnow.com. And with that, let me say thank you very, very, very much to my brethren, bona fide brethren, Seven Fireside, and Emperor Wiru I Rastafari, Dr. Kujo Oponwadie. This has been, so like I said, we've kind of reinvented the show, right? We started out with a groundation format. Now, what we're doing is that the first of every month, as we've already advertised, we will be here. And for the first of every month, when we're coming, we will invite a guest to come reason with us, and mostly it will be a guest that would have something to offer that we can all share together. So that's going to be the format. This has been the first Saturday of the month. So you're seeing us for the first Saturday of the next month. We will be back with another episode of the show. To such times, blessed love, my name is Kwesi, a son, Baku, Jah beloved. I'm out. Give thanks and praises. I tindi wale.
Thanks, bless.